Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Myra Ansari here for Wave Now. We are going live to the Rotary Club today where they're hosting UofL football coach Jeff Brohm. He's going to be talking to the Rotary Club of Louisville, he's approaching his first season as UofL coach, and he's going to discuss a wide range of topics today, including the upcoming season, the transfer portal, NIL, and the experience of coaching in his hometown. So he's going to also be answering some questions by the audience. It looks like it's a lunch sort of setting, so you're going to see people eating maybe a little bit, but wanted to bring this press conference to you, this media briefing, the Rotary Club, to you live today here on Wave Now. They're getting ready to get started. Let's jump in.
And sharing the many blessings we have in life. Amen.
Thanks, Kelly. Now, lead the Pledge of Allegiance and four-way test is Craig Mooney, COO and CFO of Boston Construction, Inc. He's chair of the Honors Scholars Committee and he's a Paul Harris Fellow. He's also a new board member. Craig.
If everyone would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now for the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. We're thrilled to have so many guests today. Gee, I wonder what made people interested in seeing hearing this speaker. Unfortunately, with so many, we really don't have time to introduce everybody. So try to work around and say hello to people, but also guests, if they're interested in learning more about Rotary, Craig Sherman at the table in the back will be able to help you immediately after the meeting. Craig Sherman. Okay. Want to make sure you get the right one because there's different ones up here. Since my first, role here as president, just want to give you a little bit of background on my perspective on Rotary. It's kind of meant to me when I look at it. This year, the Rotary International theme is "Create Hope in the World." I can't imagine a more appropriate theme for the Rotary Club International, but more specifically for this club because they do so much good. And it's really just part of what the nature of the people in this room is like. And like many of you, I kind of attended a few times as a guest and at some point get around to joining. My initial impression was very positive. They had really good speakers. Generally, they really had quite a big impact on charitable activities. And also, they're really good people there. I noticed that they're all pretty, kind, friendly people, and they tend to be pretty talented in whatever they did. And they also seem to care about other people. So it's kind of a nice network of nice people, basically. But I got me to Bill Kelly, who you all remember, great man. He called me and asked me to join. He went through what Rotary really involves, and said, "Bill, I really like it. It's really nice and everything, but I'm really busy, so call me in a year and we'll talk in a year, So about approximately 365 days and a few moments later, I got a call from Bill Kelly. And Bill said the same thing. I said, "Well, Bill, last year I said I was busy. I'm still busy, but that won't change. So I really can't keep using that same excuse. So I'm glad I ended up joining, so I'll give it a try." And I didn't know if I said I might not be able to attend all the luncheons, but I'll do my best. And I'll tell you, it's one of the best decisions I made. It's a great group of people. And the impact that, the opportunity to get involved in both charitably, also just fun events, luncheons like this where you get to hear good speakers. But most important to me, at least, is the friendships and the people who have a lot of common bond of all wanting to make the world a little bit better place than they left it. It reminds me of a comment that Woody Northup made several years ago when he was, I forget the award now. I'm getting the name of the award again. When he received the whatever it was. I'll come back to that. Sorry. He made a comment that where can you walk into a room and everybody in that room has the same spirit of wanting to help others and wanting to make a difference in the world. And I don't know if those aren't his exact words, but that's my takeaway. And that just hit home for it's really true. The people in this room are doing things, not just for themselves. They're doing it because they want to help others. And I'm thinking about, what Rotarians are and kind of who they are inside. What they are is all kinds of things. I mean, lawyers, doctors, executives, teachers, parents, nonprofit leaders, all kinds of things. And, you know, their perspective is also very different. We don't have any kind of common bond in terms of we all think the same way about particular issues. We're very diverse in what we do and also in the way we think about things. But in terms of who we are inside, we're really not. We're diverse, but in one way we have a real common trait is that everybody that I've met in the road that's serious about it really cares about others, and they try to use their talents to make a difference in the world in whatever way they can. You know, and it's really it's been good to build friendships with people, you know, that have that same perspective. And I really think that, you know, I think they're better at what they do because they do have a bigger purpose than themselves. They're driven by more than just selfishness. I think they're better at whatever they do because part of that is trying to help others in the process. And, you know, I mentioned the theme is create hope in the world. They do create hope in the world every day, both through Rotary, things we do through Rotary, but also what they do every day in their lives, in their personal lives and their professional lives. You know, whether it's, you know, however they end up helping people in their particular job, they do it with a four-way test where they care about others and they're honest, et cetera. So they really, it's a pleasure to be with a group that really sort of thinks the same way in terms of who they are inside. That's a really compliment to this group. Also, Rotarians, as I mentioned, they have a big impact charitably. But what's interesting, they have a much bigger impact collectively than we would if we all did it individually. Examples that we can do stuff, you know, in Guatemala or in Haiti or in say Kenya, getting clean water, et cetera, because there's like 44,000 clubs around the world. It's one everywhere pretty much. There's 1.4 million Rotarians and Rotaract people that can help with projects, et cetera. And that, you know, both people everywhere and money available, you can really have a big impact collectively as a group. And it's fun to be part of that. And Bill Gates made a comment one time about the Rotary Foundation Louisville. He said that, you know, the Bill Gates Foundation was looking at the entire world for where is the place that we use our money most effectively. Where can we get this money to the biggest impact and also sustainably the biggest impact? They checked everywhere. The Gates Foundation is big, as you all know. They've given over $1 billion to us. They chose the Rotary Club as the best foundation in the world in terms of how they use the money to make a bigger impact. That says a lot to me. One other thing about Rotary, it brings people together. And again, like I mentioned, we're not all the same. We're all different people and different perspectives, but it brings us together. You hear so much these days about isolation, divisiveness, and loneliness, all this other stuff. And people aren't, you know, the data also shows people aren't in groups as much as they used to be. The old story about bowling alone, that's that book. And to the extent they are, a lot of times they're in groups that are more echo chambers of their own biases. So sometimes that can lead to even more divisiveness. So the Rotary Club is the kind of organization that helps us bring people together again as we should, rather than being lonely out there, and also bring people together that have differences but have common bond and want to make the world a better place. And also the term, you'll hear the term social capital. And that's basically, you know people and they know who you are, and they respect you and like you, et cetera, and you can get stuff done collectively. People in this room individually have a lot of social capital. They can really impact by making phone calls or whatever. But collectively, this room and the other Rotarians outside of here have a huge impact on what they can do in terms of impact on society. So those are all things that, to me, hit home for what Rotary is all about. I'm looking forward to the year spending time with friends, you know, trying to make the world a little better place and to create hope in the world. And I ask you, what can you do, or what can we do collectively to make the world a better place and to create hope in the world? Thanks. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our RCL leadership team for this year, 2023-24. That sounds like a long time in the future, doesn't it? Please stand when I call your name and remain standing, please. Your incoming officers and directors for this coming year are President-elect Laurie Flannery. Laurie is the CEO of New Directions Housing Corporation, Chair of the Governance Advisory and Strategic Planning Committee. And, Kevin Fields. Kevin's going to be secretary of RCL. I was talking to Kevin earlier. Is Kevin not here? He's president and CEO of the Louisville Central Community Center. They do a lot of good things. And he's chair of the D&I committee. Club director Kevin McCarron. I know he's vacationing in Virginia right now. He's the founder and designer of Projection Creative, Rotary of the Year 21-22, chair of the Public Image Committee, and Paul Harris Fellow. And by the way, there's a lifetime service award I forgot about with. So Craig Mooney is club director, COO and CFO of Boston Construction Inc., and chair of Rotary on its college committee and PHF, and he's also a board. And Claire Arnold, she's program manager at UofL Logistics and Distribution Institute and co-chair of the Leadership Fellows Committee. And club director Louis Seeger. Louis is a private banker with Republic Bank and Trust. He's chair of the Emerging Leaders Committee. He's vice chair of the Membership Development and Engagement Committee. Thanks, Louis. And club director Denise Sears. Denise says that Barry's here, her husband's here. I'm speaking on behalf of, why don't you stand up, Barry? Denise is chair of SOS International. She's been doing all kinds of stuff and helping Ukraine and many other places all over the world. And she's also done a lot with the Community Impact Committee under Luke Schmidt's leadership. The two of them together have done a great job with West Louisville Housing Initiative and other things. Another club director, the president of the new board of directors rules gets to bylaws, gets to select a past president to just be on the board. And basically, it's sort of keep me in line is the whole point of that. And Greg Brown is the president and founder of Made in Louisville and Paper Chem Inc. He's a past club president in 2015 and 16, and one of the best hired presidents ever. Rotary of the Year 2011 and 12. Member of the 1912 Society and co-chair of the Social Activities Committee, along with Bill Kelly. Boy, they do a hell of a job. And Paul Harris Fellow. And immediate past president and incoming president of our local foundation, the Rotary Club, the Rotary Fund. That's Will Kuno, who was here last week and transitioned the gavel to me, and he's now actually on the golf course. He'll be here next week. And then Ann Monell is in here. She's going to be executive director. She's going to be on the Rotary Fund board. She's executive director of the Legacy Foundation of Kentuckiana. And one other thing that wasn't really, it's going to be a surprise to somebody if I can pull it up here. It's going to be a surprise to somebody. Surprise to me, yeah. We've got a Service Above Self award. I apologize about not having, this is supposed to be printed, sorry about that. I wanted to. I want to bring up somebody by the name of Delene Taylor. Can we get up this Delene here? She'll step up for a minute. I know it's a total surprise to her, and the World Committee had mentioned things up. I don't have that right now. But she's been a pleasure to work with. I've been involved with her, over the last year or so in preparing for this. She worked very closely with Walt, and we have tremendous respect for her. She's really saved the club. She came at a time we just lost the executive director. It was still during COVID, and it was a big struggle. And she worked incredible hours, still does. And she was Rotarian before that. She has all the values, et cetera. But she's been involved in many of the committees, doing the legwork for a lot of the committees. She's actually done stuff that a lot of things that the executive director isn't really required to do, but she's owned it here, and she really feels that this is important to her and it's important to us. And I just think she's got tremendous respect from all of us. And I think that one thing she doesn't like notoriety. Well, I'm sorry. I apologize for that. And I only know of one critic of Delene, and that's Delene. She is always trying to be the best she can be. She's very, very good. She came from a CPA background with very professional experience, and has applied that along with her just to common knowledge and smarts to really bring the club together. She brings more guests to this than anybody by far, but she really lives the Rotary Club. She happens to have a job here, but it's what she really lives it and enjoys doing it. And I want to thank you for all you do.
Well, I don't have anyone to take a photo because Kevin McCarron's on, but so we'll get one after. But I do want to say this just isn't possible without the help of so many people. Walt is responsible for me being here. He's the one that led the search committee, and he talked me down off the ledge quite a few times and continues to be my counselor. Jean, of course, with the you can't break Rotary reminder whenever I got a little crazy. And then Kevin has just been super supportive, and it just wouldn't be possible without Tracy, which I saw. There's Tracy. You guys give it up for Tracy. She really does work super, super hard, and I could not do my job if she was not doing her job. And I also want to thank the board. We have a tremendous board who has been incredibly supportive of me. And to everyone who has thanked me, who has patted me on the back, who has said something helpful or offered to help, thank you, because you make this job the meaningful job that it is and the reason I'm still here. Thank you.
That was a nice surprise, huh? Good job. Our new photographer, by the way, Kevin just lost his job. The other Kevin. Now, the pleasure of the whole thing is we got a really great speaker today. Sorry, I have a whole lot of guests. I'm not going to introduce Jeff Brohm. I'm going to leave that to Ken because Ken knows a lot more, and Ken's a good buddy there. But I will just mention one thing. I did make one request to the coach, and that was like, I don't want to go to a ball game in December, okay? We'll be back a couple weeks. We need a January bowl, okay?
Thanks, President. Welcome, Kevin, to your first deal. Our speaker today is already living the Rotary theme of creating hope in our part of the world. So thank you. Appreciate that. "30 years after graduating from the University of Louisville as one of the most accomplished quarterbacks in school history with his number 11 jersey, one of 26 honored in the program, and 15 years after leaving the Cards following 6 years coaching in various roles, quarterbacks coach, passing game coordinator, offensive coordinator, and assistant head coach, and helping the Cards to a school best 12-1 record, an Orange Bowl win in 2007. Jeff Brohm has returned again to the University of Louisville, this time as head coach. His quarterbacking career has been special. Started off winning a Toy Bowl, and he won Kentucky Mr. Football in 1988 when he led Trinity High School to an undefeated season and a state championship. And then with the Cardinals, leading them to the Liberty Bowl, and then 6 seasons in the NFL, 7 seasons with 6 teams, and then a season in the XFL. He was drafted twice in Major League Baseball. After his freshman year in high school, he was drafted by the Montreal Expos, and then after his senior year in high school, and then he went to UofL, and then after his freshman year at UofL, he was drafted by the Cleveland Indians, and he did play 2 years in the summer. So I've been told he might have been a better baseball player than football player. What could have been, Jeff? He started coaching as the head coach of the Louisville Fire of Arena Football League 2, and was quarterback coach at Florida Atlantic, Illinois, and University of Alabama, Birmingham, where he was also the offensive coordinator, becoming associate head coach and offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Western Kentucky. He then won 30 games and 2 Conference USA championships in 3 seasons as head coach at Western Kentucky, and he won 36 games in 6 seasons as head coach at Purdue, taking over a Boilermakers team that had won just 9 games in 4 seasons. He led Purdue to 3 wins over top 3 teams and a Big Ten West Division championship last year. Jeff Jeff and his wife Jennifer have been married 20 years. His son starts at UofL in a few weeks, and his daughter's in 7th grade. And please welcome the man who made his screen debut in a Cardinals video release this week of a Top Gun 2 scene sequel, Jeff Brohm.
Well, thank you very much. It's always an honor to get out and to be around people, especially in the community, and see some familiar faces, and then some others that maybe I don't know as well, but I'm sure my family members do because I have a lot of them. But, I tell you what, it's great to be back home. It's great to be back in the city of Louisville. It's great to be back, leading this program here with the Louisville football team. And it's a big responsibility, but it's something that I really enjoy. I feel like I work hard at it, and I know that the expectations are high. But that's what you want. You want them to be high. You want to try to come in and do something special. You want to try to raise the bar, and you want to do your part. And I think it's important that as the leader of the team, that I do my part first. And I make sure that I put in the work to help our team improve and find success. And then I continue to help our assistant coaches do the same thing, and our players, of course, do the same thing on the field. And all those things matter. I think when you get into college athletics, every little detail matters if you want to win. The difference in winning and losing is small, and everybody has to do their part. Coming back, from day one has been a lot of work, but it's been something I've enjoyed. I know I had a chance to be at Purdue for 6 years, really enjoyed the people, enjoyed living there. It was a blue-collar town and university, and I liked that. And we tried to always raise the bar there. And I feel like we made some really good strides, and we took a stadium that not many people came in, and we sold it out numerous times throughout the last course of the few years, and had some big wins. And those are always fun. It's fun not only for yourself, but for the fan base and for people like you who want to experience excitement and, do something special. And that's what our goal was. And I do feel like, we made progress. So when this job opportunity came around for the second time, of course, I couldn't say no this time. It was time to come back home and even give back to the people that have helped me along the way. And I really feel like that's what it's about. I do have a big extended family, but I feel like that I have a lot of other people that I know that are part of my family here as well. People that have helped me along the way, people that have helped people I know, people I grew up with, people I went to school with. All those things matter. And, even as I sit in this room, all you guys in this room have accomplished great things. And you've done it through your hard work, but you've done it through probably a lot of help of others along the way that I'm sure you continue to give back to them. So I think it was time for me to come back and do my part and to, try to do something special here. About 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, my wife's mother got sick. And believe it or not, my wife and my young daughter moved back to our house in Louisville, which we always kept, to take care of her mom at our house for a full semester while me and my son stayed at Purdue. And to be quite honest with you, my daughter enjoyed being back here. Even though she's 12, even though we came back for vacations and times that we had off and came back quite a bit, she really hadn't got a chance to live here and experience the people. But she went to the little grade school I went to, St. Bernard, which is close to where we live at. Enjoyed the semester a great deal. And she liked it a little better than where she was at, and she subtly let me know that. So, believe it or not, her birthday is November 18th, and on her birthday, my wife came up and said, "Hey, your daughter wrote you something to what she wants for her birthday," and she said, "You may not want to read it though." I said, "Well, just tell me what it is real quick." And really, what she wrote was nothing material on the piece of paper. It was She wanted to come back to Louisville. She wanted to go to school here. She wanted to do this. She wanted to do that. And all of it had to do with coming back home. And not that she didn't like it where she was at. She did. But I just think that she really enjoyed being back. And then a few weeks later, of course, I dropped my son off at school on, I don't remember what day it was, maybe December 3rd. It was the Monday after our Big Ten championship game, and my son, who does live on Twitter, if anyone follows him on Twitter, yes, he does live on social media way more than I do. He called me on the ride back to work. He said, "Hey, Dad, have you looked at Twitter?" Actually, no, he texted me, which he shouldn't be texting in school, but he did. He said, "Have you looked at Twitter?" I said, "No, I have not." He goes, "Well, you might want to look at Twitter." And of course, that's when some things started to move here, and things happen fast. And without question, I had a great situation at Purdue. We made a lot of progress. I worked for great people, enjoyed it, and to be really honest, my boss, our athletic director, said, "Hey, I know what's going on, and I know what you may want to do, but name the price and whatever you want, and we'll get it for you." And I said, "You know what? I appreciate that, but it's not about that. So don't even go there. Let me just figure out, what's the best thing to do, and then we'll go from there." And then, of course, we made the quick decision to move here, and we're looking forward to it. So far, my son graduated his senior year at Trinity, went the last semester there. He's going to start at the University of Louisville. My daughter is going to enter 7th grade at the school she came back and went to a couple semesters ago, and things have gone well. It has been busy. When the Big Ten season was over, I'm not gonna lie, I'm very hands-on with what we do, and normally when the season's over, I'm ready to just put my feet up and relax. So I knew when I took the job here, I would not be able to put my feet up and relax. So, of course, the first couple of weeks, it was really busy. A lot of recruiting stuff going on, getting to know our players, getting to know the recruits, all those things, traveling. And, my parents were, of course, very happy that we were coming back. My brother Greg, who's our chief of staff, director of operations, he was happy to be coming back. And I would, text him and call him occasionally saying, "You know what, I'm glad you guys are enjoying these first couple of weeks, because I am not. I haven't slept in a while." But anyway, it was all in jest, but it was good. It's good to make other people happy. And of course, that died down a little bit, and we got caught up, and now we're in the middle of the summer. And we went through spring practice, had a good session of practices, and now it's about getting our team ready for this season. And in today's landscape, things change a lot, and you have to be able to adapt. And we've recruited new players. We've added some transfer additions to the season, and they're all here now. And so we're getting a chance to work with them and getting them ready to go. And I think it's going to be important that we utilize every person, available to try to get this done. I think our guys have worked hard. If you get to know a football team, which I have for years, you have 85 scholarship players. You have anywhere from 20 to 20 plus walk-ons after that. So you're normally around 110 to 120 players. And there's a lot of different personalities on your team. But you've got to be able to get the most out of them. You've got to be able to get the best out of them. You've got to be able to put them in an environment where they want to work hard, while they enjoy working hard, while it's fun to come over and put in the extra work. And I think our guys understand, that there's going to be a lot of work that has to be done. And, some of the things I tell them is, not only supporting them along the way, but, you got to find a way to gain an edge. And, when you sit there and you work hard and you sweat and you put in the time, you think, what, now I can win. And that's somewhat the case. But as I tell our team, every other team is working really hard as well. So, what's going to be your edge? What's it going to be? And some of the things I stress to them, one of the edges that I believe that you have to be able to do is, how hard are you going to work when people aren't watching? To me, that's a way to gain an edge. You'll always have a few people that they work really hard when you're looking at them, and then when you're not, then they may skip a repetition or two and take it easy. But you want guys that know they're going to put in the work, and then when you're not watching, you're going to put in more work. And I tell them, and that doesn't start with you guys, that starts with me. And I need to make sure I find a way to outwork every other head coach in the country. I don't need to talk about it, brag about it, but it just needs to get done. So, for example, our coaches take a couple of weeks of vacation in the summer. My wife always kind of gets on me. She goes, well, where are you going? I'm like, well, I'm going into work. She goes, well, you're on vacation. I'm like, well, do you have something planned that you want to do? If you do, I'll do it. But if not, I'm going into the office. That's kind of how it works. And, she understands it. But I said, look, I'm willing to go wherever you want to go and do whatever. To an extent, but if not, I've got work to do. So today, I've had a couple meetings. We come here for lunch. I had some players want to meet with me at 11:30 one-on-one to go over some football stuff. I say, hey, I can't make it. Let's put you back to 2. We have workouts on the field with them after that. I got a NIL 502 circle function I have to go to tonight. But that's what you got to do. You got to put in the work, and you have to find a way to enjoy it and put a smile on your face and like being active. So I just think, I have to find a way to with that said, that's some of the other stuff. Football wise, I have to find a way to gain an edge as well. Our coaches have to make sure they find a way to gain an edge. And then our players have to make sure they do that. And I think if you do that, it all adds up to where, okay, now we're getting somewhere. So I just think every little thing's important. Our guys are really good young men. They work really hard. They're willing to do whatever it takes for the most part. They're good teammates. One of the great things about football, it teaches you, how to work hard for success, but how to handle adversity and how to handle, when things don't go well. And with the game of college football now, you hear about it a lot more through social media and the media, and you got to be able to handle those things. And you got to be able to stay focused and locked in, have confidence in yourself, have confidence in your teammates, and continue to press forward. So I just think all those things matter. When it comes to preparing for the season, as we talk to the team, everybody before the season starts thinks they're going to go undefeated. And you know what? Yeah, that's always the goal, and that'll always be the goal. But in reality, a lot of times, even the national championship team loses a game. So the key is going to be, how are you going to be able to handle defeat, how you can be able to handle losses, how you can be able to handle some things that don't happen well. Are you going to continue to have that same fire, that same drive? You continue to believe in yourself, believe in your teammate, or are you going to start to question things? That's what determine what type of team you are, is how you handle losses. For example, my daughter, she does play a lot of sports. She's really good at volleyball, however you want to put it. She was on a really good team where we're at. She came in, her team hasn't done quite as well, so she would get a little angrier than she used to because she likes to win, which I like. But I said, hey, sometimes you can learn more by a loss, even though it doesn't feel good, if you handle it the right way, which means, first off, you got to do your part. So you may think you're playing great, but you got to play better. So you got to work hard at that. You've got to find ways to uplift your teammates and help them get better. You got to find ways to encourage them to work harder. So it's a lot of learning that goes on. She was able to play some new sports when she got here. She tried field hockey. She tried track. All those things, which is I enjoy. I enjoy being around athletics. I enjoy basketball. I enjoy baseball. All those. Excuse me. All those things. And I enjoy watching people compete and work hard. So it's great to be able to coach, young people as well. I remember when I was a head coach at Western Kentucky, my son, I coached his little league baseball team, and I had one of our graduate assistants be my assistant baseball coach. And he used to tease me all the time because he would say, hey, you know what, all these parents really think you're like the nicest guy in the world because you're so nice to their sons and you coach them so nice. And he said, you're so positive, but he would do an imitation of me, and it would just kind of be like, hey guys, you guys are doing great out there, keep it going. And of course I'm in the dugout and my son's playing first base, and I would be encouraged, hey, you guys are doing great. And I looked at my son, you better pick it up here more. He'd say a few choice words. I said, well, that was under my breath. I said, I could do that to my son. But I do think, coaching at all levels is difficult. So while I'm coaching college athletes, sometimes when you coach youth, it can train you to do a lot of things better because you got to coach step 1 to step 2 to step 3, and you can't miss those steps or good things aren't going to happen. So I just think, I've been fortunate enough to play a lot of sports, to be around it, to be around a lot of great players, a lot of great coaches, and you just kind of tie those things together and you try to give it your own style and flavor and to help your team win. As far as our season right now, we're excited about what's coming forward. And, we have 7 home games. We play 4 away games in NFL venues. The first one being at Georgia Tech in the Falcon Stadium. We play the 3rd game of the year, Indiana up in Lucas Oil Stadium where the Colts play. Of course, we play Pittsburgh in the Steelers Stadium away. And we play Miami in the Dolphins Stadium, and then mix in a game in North Carolina State. And then home games against a lot of good teams, including Notre Dame and Kentucky. So I just think it's a great schedule. Our guys are looking forward to competing. For us, we have to handle it one game at a time and to put our best foot forward and to find a way to win and have answers when things aren't going well. And we want to make sure we work hard to do that. As far as, kind of what our program stands for, and I'll be brief on this, but, academics will always come first where we're at. We want our guys to get a degree. Nowadays, there's so much help and assistance that student athletes have that you really got to screw it up to not make that happen. But we want them to do it as fast as they can. Some guys want to go on a quick path, and we want to help them do that. But we have a great academic team. The one thing I think we try to do better than anywhere else is our coaches take ownership in academics, meaning our assistant coaches and myself. I've been on a lot of staffs where coaches coach football and academic people do academics, and hey, let's worry about your own job. And that's fine to a certain degree. But in my opinion, youth today needs an authoritative figure with a foot right behind their rear end, ready to go in it when they're not doing what they're supposed to. So, I want our coaches to make sure we're following the progress of our guys in class. Are they going to class? Are they turning in their work? We get weekly updates. So sometimes on certain guys, we get daily updates. And we got to do our part to make sure they're getting their academics done. And I think we've done a really good job at that. At Purdue, we had Rondell Moore, who's from Southern Indiana, played at Trinity, came to Purdue, could have went anywhere in the country wanted. Came to Purdue, and because we sold him on a vision of making him achieve his goals as fast as he could. He was an All-American as a true freshman in college football. Not on the freshman All-American team. He was an All-American as a true freshman. It's only happened 3 times in the history of the college football game. Herschel Walker, Adrian Peterson, Rondell Moore. He was a 2nd-round draft pick. Only reason he didn't get drafted in the 1st round because really he's only 5'7". But he played at a high level. Basically helped us beat Ohio State when they were undefeated, and we won by 29 points. And he basically put on a show. Graduating 2.5 years. Okay, graduating 2.5 years. His last semester during the season, he took 27 hours. Okay, 27, not 12, not 15, took 27. Had a 3.75 GPA. Had an interesting plan where in the off season, he would do all this homework from Friday to Monday morning. So his weekends weren't spent partying or hanging out or playing video games. It was doing all his academics. From Monday to Friday, he did all football nonstop other than when he had to go to class, and he got it done. And I just think everybody's different, but you have to have a plan. And in football, there's a lot of people you got to know. Basketball's a little different. You have 12 to 15. Baseball, maybe 25 to 40. But in football, there's a lot of different personalities and people coming in. And you have to make sure you have a plan for these guys to succeed. And academically, we want to make sure we get that done. So I drifted off a little bit. Secondly, is football-wise. We want to make sure all of our guys get a chance to achieve their goals. I was a former player. Some of you guys have been former players. But you want to go somewhere that if you have a dream and a goal to get to the very top, we want to help you do it. And we want to be invested in making sure it happens. And we want to make sure we're committed to putting in extra work. Yes, you can put in the daily work, but who's going to put in extra work? And we've had a lot of great assistant coaches, including, and even when I'm the head coach, I'm going to put in extra work where guys want to spend extra time learning and getting better and studying. And you've got to be available and you've got to be willing to do that. And I think everywhere we've been, we've tried to work really hard at that because I do believe that can help be a difference maker to help our guys have success. And the guys that want to have success, we have to make sure we're there there to get it done. And we don't have an excuse to, oh, well, I got something else to do. Right? No, you don't have anything else to do. Our goal is to help each individual at our position be the best they can be, and that's what we have to do. So we really work hard at that, and I think we've done a really good job at that. We've had 2 other All-Americans at Purdue, and David Bell and George Karloftis, that came to us, and in 3 years they got drafted. They were both All-Americans, got their degree. So I think we have a plan that somebody wants to be great to help make that happen. And then we want to make sure our guys grow off the field. So spiritual growth is important to our team. You know, we have a director of player development in Deion Branch, who played football at the University of Louisville, played for the New England Patriots with the Super Bowl MVP, and basically is in charge of helping our guys off the field, being an extra voice that they can talk to and get around, and he can direct them in their life off the field. We have a FCA director, Chris Morgan. Both those guys have an office in our building, just like every assistant coach. Both those guys spearhead that. So helping our guys get involved with the church and the choice where they get here, we want to make sure we do that. Anybody that wants to do voluntary Bible study, we have it for players and coaches. Wants to be a part of that, can do that. Anybody wants to be a part of the FCA program, which we have for all the student athletes on campus, they can be a part of that. Get involved with community service. We want to make sure we're as active as we possibly can in that, and teach our guys to give back, because not only does it help the people we're giving to, it normally helps enrich their lives as well and make them feel good about themselves. And then we just want to have people that, once a month or twice a month, just kind of meet with people for 15 minutes and see how they're doing. What can I help you with? What's going on? What's bothering you? And all those things. So I have an open door policy. My door's always open, our assistant coaches, but it's good to have a different avenue as well when they feel like they don't want to get to that level yet. But I think all those things are important. We want to make sure we provide that. And then I think social growth is important as well, meaning we want all of our guys to grow socially in college. Some guys will come in with a great personality. Other guys will come in extremely shy. I was extremely shy. But you have to find ways to get out of your comfort zone and to meet people throughout college, and not just on the football team, and develop relationships outside the game of football that could last you well beyond your days of playing. And sometimes you can meet friends for life. Sometimes you can meet people that will eventually hire you. Sometimes you can meet a spouse, but you have to put yourself out there. The last thing we want is to, get a good group of players with a lot of talent and think we have to lock them in a 10 p.m. curfew every night because we're scared they're going to do something wrong. No, we're going to have to train you to be able to go out and experience a good time, be around something that's fun, but also know, what, this is stepping over the line. It's time for me to get out. It's time for me to pull my buddy out, to train yourself to be in those situations, because I think it's important that you train yourself while you're in college. And you know what? You may make a mistake or two, but you need to put yourself out there and learn and make sure that your personality is getting out and developed while you're in college. Now's the time to do that. So all those things tie together. In my opinion, if you lead a balanced life and you're working on all those things, when one element goes the opposite direction a little bit, you can balance that back by continuing to know that you have other things in your life. And nowadays, mental health is even more important than it's ever been. And I know we have a huge team of mental health experts. We had a head coaching meeting a couple months ago where they brought out 9 mental health experts we had on our staff at Louisville, which I've never seen that many. But you know what? It's important. Some of those guys come to our workouts and practices and kind of around the players just to kind of see what's going on. But it's important that you have a pulse of what's going on, because you just want to make sure everybody can handle the elements of collegiate athletics, collegiate academics, collegiate social life, because everyone's different. And what may seem easy to you may not be easy for somewhere else. And we have to make sure we're visibly on top of all those things. And while mistakes will occasionally be made, we want to try to make as few as possible. So that's kind of what we stand for. I do believe, with that said, it's important to train yourself to compete, to win at whatever you do. And that's the great thing about college sports, is it's not easy to win at a high level. You've got to work really hard. Your buddy next to you has to work really hard. Your coaches have to work really hard, and it all has to tie together. And I'm sure it's that same way in a company, in a corporation, where yes, it's important that you know a lot, but it's important that everyone else knows a lot as well, and you all can work together to achieve goals, and to be willing to take risk, and to be willing to find ways to
do something creative that maybe hasn't been done before in order to have success. So I think it's important we train our guys to do that. It's important that's my mentality. It's important that's our assistant coach's mentality. Now, we want to treat our guys right. We want to have fun while we're working hard. I do think the more fun you have, the harder you're going to work, and you get more out of it. But in the end, no, people want to see wins. They want to see success. So that's what you're going to be measured by to a certain degree, and we got to make sure we're getting that done. And, just like when I got to Purdue, some guys will come in and they'll want some new people in there, some fresh blood and all those things. And I'm the opposite. I want to try to make it work with the people that are there and then tie a few new pieces in there and give those guys a chance to have success, because those people normally are really good people. They have a lot of talent that if you give them a chance, they can get things done. And I want to do the same thing here. We got some really good players on our team that have worked really hard, that have done some great things. And we want to piece together some other new faces to make sure we help them achieve their goals. And, luckily, as a player and coach, going on my 10th year in head coaching, hopefully I have the experience and know-how to, like I tell our coaches all the time, we have to have answers right away. All right, problems are going to come up, things are going to happen. We've got to know the answers, and we got to figure out the answers. And if we don't, we better be able to figure out quickly. So all those things matter, just like it matters with where you're working, that you find a way to get success, to get an upper hand, to win, but to also do it with integrity, with ethics, and with class. And, that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to have fun with it. We want everyone to feel part of it. When great things happen, people want to be a part of it. And, just like I know here, when things aren't, you're going to hear about it. And but that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm a fan myself. I have an extended family. A father and my older brother is our director of operations, chief of staff. My younger brother is our quarterback coach, offensive coordinator. But, sometimes they give me a fan's perspective quite a bit on things throughout the season. And you know what? They're in my office way more than you would think. They give me their opinion way more than a normal person would take. But that's part of what I signed up for. But you know what? Those things keep you grounded, and they make you think things through a little bit more. Because as a head coach, sometimes you can get around people or a CEO that want to make you happy and they want to just do right by you. They don't want to tick you off. Well, that's really not what you want. You want people to tell you the truth, that tell you, if you're doing something good, but tell you, no, that's not the way we want to handle those things. So all those things are vital to success. For example, and some of you may have heard this story, but I was at Western Kentucky. It was my first year as a head coach. It was about the 5th or 6th game of the season, and I came home one day, and my wife looked at me, and she said, and she knows sports, but, just like you guys by watching it, but she said, hey, are you ever going to run that one play? And I said, well, just like everything, I can't read your mind. What play are you talking about? She said, that one where you hand the ball off and you pitch it back and you throw it. I'm talking about the flea flicker. I said, you know what? In my head, I'm like, you know what? And I take pride in running trick plays. And I'm like, at the time, we really don't have a flea flicker in. So I'm like, she might have the point. So anyway, not telling her, I put in the flea flicker that week. So it's about the first play of the second quarter. I said, all right, I'm going to call it. It's time for the flea flicker. So I call it. And we hand the ball off to the running back. He runs up in there. He pitches it back to the quarterback. Quarterback gets it. He goes to throw the ball. And as he launches the ball, and it's about a fourth of the way in the air, I kind of noticed that the receiver was wide open. Wide open. And as the ball traveled about from the fourth to halfway, in my head, I'm thinking, do I really want this ball to be completed? Is it really worth this ball being completed? And of course it is. We score a touchdown. We win the game. Nothing big. And of course, as soon as I see my wife after the game, I told you should have ran the flea flicker. So I do listen to other people. So, I'm sure you'll have suggestions when we're screwing things up as well. I'm used to listening. I think I've been trained well at it. But you know what? Like I said, it's important that, you're able to handle those things. And I'm appreciative of all the help that my family has given me. I'm appreciative of all the support that a lot of people in this room have given Louisville Athletics. A lot of familiar faces here. In my opinion, it takes everybody in order to get things done. And then, of course, it's up to me to make sure I, lead the charge so that we win football games. We find a way to win championships. We find a way to achieve goals, and we try to find a way to have fun doing it. And I do believe in having fun while you're doing it as well. So we want to make the game exciting. We want to make it fun to watch, but we want to win. So I thank you for all your support. I thank you for having me here. And I think I can open it up for questions if anyone has some questions.
Coach, thank you so much. I'm Fred Cowan. Thank you so much for being here and giving us some insight into your priorities and future. I got a question for you that's I know you're dealing with right now, but it's one that sort of is a revolution in college sports, and that's a combination of transfer portal and NIL. And my question is, how are you dealing with that? How do you foresee dealing with that? And specifically, is the whole thing with NIL, is that going to lead us into some danger zones with people putting together so much money and kind of under the table or otherwise offering some of these athletes certain priorities?
Well, that's a really good question. It's one, of course, I get a lot about the transfer portal and about the NIL. My first response to it is, I don't make the rules. So whether I agree with it or not, that's a part of college football. So I just think you have to adapt to the landscape and be able to change and use it to your advantage. So when it gets to the transfer portal, a couple of years ago was put in that these young men could transfer whenever they wanted and go play somewhere else. And you know what? I actually agree. I think it's, if someone's not happy where they're at and they're not getting the opportunity to achieve their goals, they should have the opportunity to go somewhere else. And, and that's been put into place. Now, other things are created by that, but at the same time, when you weigh it all, it is important that everybody gets an opportunity to play and compete. So with that said, every year now, because of that, you evaluate your current team and you figure out, okay, where are the strengths, where are the weaknesses, and how can we improve and get better? And now there are ways to go out and improve and get better. So it's not only through recruiting high school athletes, it's through recruiting transfers. And with that, they got to fit. You got to get to know what they're about and who they are. But what it sometimes gives you an advantage with is sometimes, at least for us, we're looking for guys with experience, for guys that have played football, for guys that have played college football. Sometimes we've had a lot of success for guys that maybe even played at a lower level, but they played a lot of football, that maybe have 1 or 2 years left, but they want to go somewhere bigger and prove their worth. And you know what? Those guys normally do a great job for us. And so we will always be open to improving our roster within a certain degree, but we're always going to continue to recruit high school prospects here. While I'm here, we're going to recruit the best the best talent in state that we possibly can, and give those guys an opportunity to come play for us, because I do think we have a great plan to help those guys achieve their goals and that they can do it at the highest level and highest stage here. So we're always open to that. When it gets to NIL, it's just a part of college athletics now. And I do think that that will continue to change, and there'll be things that you have to adapt to. But right now, I think that we've adapted pretty well to all this. And yes, there's always things that come about with it. There's guys on your team that always have NIL questions as well that you have to deal with. And believe it or not, a lot of my day is dealt more with a lot of that stuff than it used to be. But that's part of it, and we just have to adapt and move forward.
Coach Cliff Belgian, if you might elaborate just a little bit, I don't think the average individual who's not involved with college athletes recognize this is for these young men and young women on the other teams. It's like a job as opposed to what most students go through going through college. to become competitive?
Well, all college athletes now, yes, they put in a lot of time and effort, not only to their schooling, which they have to do, but with also perfecting, their craft and what they're good at. And, my hat's off to them. Even back when I played, you had your summers off to a certain degree. You come in and work out every now and then. But nowadays, everything is structured, and you're working out quite a bit. And we have a plan for it. Now, myself, I can't speak for others. We have a plan that we do give our guys some time off, and we do make sure that, we get them to the season fresh and we don't overdo it. But when it is time to work now, instead of kind of doing things on your own, we have it structured where we're going to have strength coaches and coaches and groups together. And we're going to have people there to assist them so that when it is time to work, we're there to help them work and get better. And that's probably with every sport, definitely with football, where you're going to spend a lot of time, playing the game and trying to get stronger and faster and studying and working on fundamentals and techniques. And that's just part of it. It's a very competitive sport. It's very competitive in college athletics, and you have to try to be a master at what you do. So, yes, they spend a lot of time with it. NIL is set up to help, in that avenue where that these players and student athletes can profit off their name, image, and likeness, and we want to help them achieve that.
Thanks so much, Jeff. That's phenomenal.
Okay.
So hold on for a second. I got one thing to get you. It's just, we have a West Louisville Housing Initiative, which is the Rotary Fund of Louisville, Rotary Club of Louisville. We've got $5 million of donations. They're not all there yet, but it's about half pledged, but about $5 million we're looking at for donating to a fund which will basically fund first mortgages for people that wouldn't otherwise qualify for a mortgage under criteria under the federal rules. But they are, they're paying rent more than a mortgage would be. Several other reasons why they should be, so it's a way to give, get into developing wealth in your home, in your house, in your family, by having your first home in nine neighborhoods in West Louisville that need kind of help. And we're going to be giving a $500 donation in your name, Jeff, to that fund.
Thank you.
That's conditional upon a January bowl game.
That's right. Heard that loud and clear.
You're about NAL, you're going to read about Jeff Brohm being involved in gambling, again, gambling syndicate. We got a Rotary here. Little raffle. Couple things.
Kevin, before we start that one, don't forget, we have a special gift today from the Women's Club who has donated to our raffle. And it is a cookbook and a tin of tea.
Come on up, Trudy.
Did it make it up here?
Yeah, it's right here.
Yes.
Okay. It's one of the two gifts we have.
Or you want to do the bourbon first? Or?
Well, strange enough, this is a very expensive bourbon. And last week, I think Barbara Sexton Smith was. She gave it, she didn't want it, so she gave it to Morgan McGarvin. He gave it back. So it's actually more like a fruitcake. But it's good. Pick one of these. Okay.
Okay, the number is 242-1513.
Yes.
Okay, Alex, way to go, man. We're gonna open it now, or you wanna wait?
Let me say, you will not see this again.
By the way, last Friday, Alex retired. So he's ready now. Yeah, well, just one thing. Before you do, this is our last, for now at least, our last luncheon at Women's Club of Louisville, and we think they've done a phenomenal job. We've been here for a few months since we started in April. It's been great, and we really want to appreciate what Trudy's done, and also the staff has done a really good job. And it's not easy to serve a group like this, with all these things going on, but it's been very good, and we think that hopefully we both gain from that. You're a member of the club. We've got some members of Women's Club now that are Rotarians from before, and many Rotarians understand what this place is like. By the way, if you haven't seen the auditorium across the hall is great. But this is a wonderful place, and you've been a great hostess.
Well, thank you. And we've had a good team of our members that have come and helped. I see several of them sitting in the back right now that are here to help every day. But one of the things that I was so impressed with when you all came in are these statements. And the interesting thing is when you get down, is it beneficial? If you can just imagine what it costs to run these old historic buildings, and to have you all in here and help us out with some rent, and then also to keep our staff employed for part of the summer, that is huge. So thank you for coming. And we know you rotate around to different areas, but on behalf of the Women's Club, I would like to say we'd love to have you back again for another quarter sometime. So anyway, you can spike this with some bourbon and make it as good as the other thing. But
Check with Alex for that.
but the tea was blended by the Elmwood Inn here in Kentucky, and it's in honor of the 100th anniversary of this building. And then the cookbook they made several years ago just to help us kind of do a fundraiser and raise some money. So here you go for this. Yeah.
Good, Jeff. One more.
We'll go with 242-1581. 1581.
Need to be present to win. Anybody?
1581. Try
another one.
Try another one.
Good. 242-1561.
1561. Woohoo!
Hey, Judy, all right. By the way, don't forget, next week is the UofL University Club. We'll be there for a while. And for those, the guests here, Craig Sherman, where's Craig? Okay, there's Craig, I'm sorry. I think in the right direction. Go to Craig afterwards if you want to learn more about Rotary. But that's the end of the meeting. Thanks, Craig. I was going to write a script and say I want to use notes.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Good seeing you.
Yeah, one thing, you
I'm going to circle
what are you 20 people you think? You run the crowd, you think, you know, think of the people